All right. So I don't know if I am live right now because I was facing quite a lot of problems, but now I think it is working because at least on my YouTube studio, it is saying that I'm live. So maybe what I will do is add my screen and put it in the layout like this. Maybe can I drag it here? No, I can't. So fair enough. I think this is fine. We will go ahead with this. Okay. Sorry guys, due to some technical problems, I got delayed a bit. So my restream completely refused to start. It it gave me the option to join the studio, but then after that nothing happened. So it was kind of going in an infinite loop, and nothing happened. Now everything is fine. I think I can close this. I was basically trying to see if OBS can work. Currently active. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes, I am. That's gone. And now let's come to our topic for today, which is Laravel API authentication using Sanctum for our monitoring app, right? So what I'm trying to do over here is, so far, if we look at our apis.php file, we have few URLs and APIs which are coming through our API. We are able to consume it. We are even consuming them inside our Next.js application. But then in this entire thing, right, there's no authentication. The idea was that I can plug in the authentication at any point. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, by default, if we look at the not package.json, but rather the Laravel's composer.json has a package already in it, which is Laravel Sanctum. So this basically means that it comes out of the box, so we don't need to install it. The configuration is very straightforward. What we are trying to achieve here is to create one URL which will allow us to log in the user. Okay. And then there will be one more URL which will allow the user to log out. Okay, when we log in, we create a token for that user inside the database, and when we log out, we will delete that token so that that token cannot be reused in any other place. Okay, so let's get started and see how things go. So as I said, the first thing that we will have to do is create an API where the user can log in. Correct. So why don't we do something like, let me comment it out and go to this thing that is in make. We will create a controller called auth controller. Come back over here. Something like this should work for us. So we are going to create a function inside the controller class, which is going to validate my login, right? So let's get started. I have a public function. So my request object and sorry, this, I'll run the validation first. I'll have email should be required, and it should be of type email. That is the bare minimum. Obviously, we need the password and maybe the device name, because the Sanctum token requires a device name so that we can name it. And yeah, so we will take that from the front end. Now, with this in place, we need to do a basic validation, right? Which is whether the user exists or not. Right. So we will either not get the user, and in that case, we will throw a validation exception, or let's just say if the password also doesn't match, we will send the same exception. So what we can do is, if we don't find that user, or let's check the request's password field and the user's password. So let me quickly see. The check function takes the value and the hashed value, right? So the second parameter is the hashed value. So if that check fails, then also we need to throw a validation exception, something like this, with message. We'll do that, has to be an array. The IALS credentials are not correct. Okay, something like this, right? And yeah, I need a semicolon over there. But if everything is fine, right, then what we can do is return a response, because so far everything is fine. Return a JSON response. It has to be a 200, and inside the JSON we are going to send a token, which is going to be $user create token. Okay, and we will do request device name, and then there is a method called plain text token. Okay, this is something which I know. How do we get this function? Well, I think it's inside the has API tokens thing, create token, right? So this gives you the method which allows us to create a token, and we have we are returning new access token. Okay, and this I think has that method called um, plain text token. It should be somewhere over here, but yeah, we can go quite deep into it if we want to. Right now, that's not the ultimate goal. But with this, ideally, what will happen is API will be hit, controller will do all these things, and if everything is fine, we will get a token. So let us test that out. So I have collections, I have perfectionist, and over here, new request. This is basically my Thunder client app on VS Code. Okay, login is my request name. It has to be a post. Okay, let me see if there are any comments. Okay, there are quite a few. Hey, hi Geet. Hey, thanks for joining. Sorry, I saw your message quite late. Thank you. Um, okay, PW Codigo. Hi, PW Codigo from Brazil. Thank you for joining my stream. Spatty from Bangladesh. That's an interesting name, because I know Spatty and Freak. So, right. And do you speak Portuguese? Unfortunately, no. I know English, and that's why um, I typically stream only in English. Okay, for the wider audience. All right. So let's continue. Again. I thank every one of you to join the stream. This really encourages me. Right. So we are trying to test our URL, right, which we just created. So localhost 8000 API slash login. Inside the header, it is very important that we have this as application JSON. Otherwise, what happens is, I have seen that this either creates a problem or it takes you somewhere else. I will actually show you that. It's a very strange little thing which I discovered. So let's just say this is a post request. Okay, body. This is going to be JSON. So inside that, we have email. Basically, I need to run the seeder with some data, otherwise, it will be a problem. But I know it is going to fail, so bear with me. Password at the rate 123, that is going to be my secret password, and device name will be web. Okay, something like that. Now, when I hit this, can you see the post method is not supported for this route? Now, why this is happening? It is not able to understand the content type, nothing else, because this route does exist. Okay, so if you ever come across this problem with your API, first try to change that. Okay, and as I said, it became a curse for me because now it is not working. Let me now see what is happening. Okay, I have definitely API slash login, but I made a mistake. So this is fine, but then ideally what I just told you should be the case, right? It's a star, right? It gives you a redirection, definitely, because it doesn't understand it. Okay, so definitely add this header over here to make your API work properly. Otherwise, you can expect very wrong results. Okay, let me put it that way. All right. So this is something which we expected because my database obviously doesn't have this user, so it is going to fail. And so what I will do is inside the database Cedar, some things going on, right? Maybe I'll just create a new user with my name and I'll use the bcrypt function. Password at the rate 123, that's my secret password. Okay, and with this thing in place, what I will do is MRS. Okay, which MRS? Basically, I'm going to run PHP artisan migrate refresh and seed. Okay, everything is done. Now, if I hit the API, it again gives me an error. Is it because I made some mistake? Password at the rate 123, reach me at amitavroy.com. No, I don't see any issue. Let me go inside Tinker user all. Oh, my mistake. And but I do have a user with my name. Okay, I see some question over here. Benjamin is saying, what is the extension name for VS Code API? Well, Benjamin, that is Thunder Client, uh, an app which you can, an extension, exactly, yes, extension which you can install on your VS Code, and that will give you certain features very similar to Postman if you are aware. And hi, Hemant, thanks for joining. Really appreciate taking some time and joining the live session. Thank you very much. How are you? All right. Now, what just happened? Reach me. I think everything is fine. Email, password, and device name. Password. Why is it making this as a issue? Because the P is capital, bcrypt function is correct. Am I doing something wrong over here? No. So, what could be the issue? Device name is web. That's a bit weird. env. I can see the user, which definitely means that this is here. What just happened? Let me quickly check this then. So, what is coming in here? Return request all. Come over here and run this. This is just fine. So, is it a problem with the data which I'm sending? No. So, let me also log this and see what is coming. So, logger, I think there's some silly mistake which I'm not able to see because I'm a bit confused right now with the stream and everything. Let me try it once more. Let me go over here. Email password. Well, everything seems to be correct. I really can't make out what is the problem. Obviously, maybe. Let's see. What is return dollar user? Is it that only the hash is failing? Okay, fine. So the user is available to me. Um, Again, some comments. Coding Express. Hi, thanks for sharing this series tutorial. Thank you, Coding Express. Debjit, hi Debjit, how are you doing? Course maybe. Well, I just figured out that at least I'm able to find the user. So definitely, I'm making some mistake in the hash check part. I need to check that, but yeah, definitely not a course related problem. And okay, I got it. So if not user or if not hash check, what is happening is my logic was completely off, and I'm very sorry about that. If I make a mistake over here, let me remove that return statement because it is stopping everything. Yes. Now can you see that the token is generated? So obviously my logic is wrong. Anything except the correct password will be accepted, which is the boo boo that I made. So I need to do a not hash check. So if there is no user or if the hash check fails, only then I do the validation, right? So that was the mistake that I made. Sorry about it. Took some time for me to understand that. But yes, so now the request is here and I got a token. Okay, this is important. Once we have this token, this is all that we need for any subsequent requests that we are going to make to our app. Okay, so the question is, let me do one thing. Let us store this token in a text file. And what we next we will have to do is, let's just say, can we call this API and see whether we are able to get the current user? That's the bare minimum which we can expect it to happen, right? So let's see. Create a new request. We will call it current user. And we steal a little bit of stuff from here. So this is user, headers, application JSON, and we need to pass the bearer token. So the bearer token is over here. Right. And can you see now this is working? Because if I change it to something else, like one becomes two, and I hit send, it says unauthenticated. So our basic thing is working. One quick tip which I would like to give you is, this automation can be done where, let's just say I have this login, right? And I want to somehow get this token and make it as a variable for, how do you say, make it a variable so that the other requests, for example here, I am able to access that token. So how do we do that inside the Thunder Client plugin? This is what I am going to show you. So we have something called as test, right? In here what you can do is you can do something like JSON. uh, hmm, so have this JSON dot, it should have a JSON dot token. Am I running an outdated thing? Response body? No. Hmm. Select. Nah. So this is response body action set to. No. This is really not how that was done. So API login tests. Hmm. Give me a little bit of time. If I'm not able to find it, maybe I'll check the latest thing, and some things may have changed. At least in Postman we used to do that, and I remember I used to also do that same thing with Thunder clients. So JSON token, and it should have a set to action equals contains count value. This is really weird. JSON dot token. Yeah, leave it. So basically what I was trying to do is, get the token from the response and set it to a variable so that you don't need to every time do that particular thing. But I don't know, something must have changed. So yeah, we will look into that. I think there are some questions. I'm just curious, how about security? If the token is compromised, let me put it out over here. Right. So if the token is compromised, people surely can access the account. Any cost protection or cookie based auth, maybe. So, Debjit, with any SPA, right, the typical flow is you store the token in a cookie, obviously. Now, yes, if a user's token is compromised, then his account will be compromised for some time, because um, the user failed to keep a basic check that he should log out. It is very similar to, let's just say you go to a cyber cafe and you access your Gmail account and then you didn't log out. So, having said that, the first level of responsibility is that the user should ensure that his token is deleted, and that is something which we will do using the logout functionality. On top of it, what we can do is definitely have a very short-lived token, maybe something which expires in less, let's say 5 minutes. So every time the user is making a request, an API call is made, right? You can extend the expiry of that API token by five more minutes, and it can continue to do the same thing till the 5 minutes are over. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, if the cookie is compromised, then that user's account is compromised. There's unfortunately very little can be done except for the user to do a forgot password or something like that. It's a very bad thing to have happened. Okay, so moving along, we definitely need to do the logout API, right? And for that, I think the code is quite straightforward. We don't need to do too much, I would say, jing bang about it. the first thing that we will have to do is do a route group, something like this. And sorry, I have a suffering weather, so my voice would be a little strange. Middleware, and my middleware is going to be auth sanctum. So why don't we add that over here, and then function like so. I have extra double brackets, and it's not what I wanted. All right. So I have this middleware. Strange things are happening. Okay. So I have this middleware, which is auth sanctum, which basically means any new route inside this will need to go through the authentication middleware. It will check whether the user is logged in or not using the token. And what I'm going to do is use auth controller class, and over here do logout. That will be what we require. Now for the auth controller, we will create a function over here, rather method, which is logout. Now again, the logout method will get the request. So I'll do request, dollar request, and the thing which we need to do is very straightforward, which is dollar request user. Okay, we get the user object because it's an authenticated user now, right? So current access token method, and we call the delete method on top of it. With this in place, we do return response JSON, and this is going to be an empty response. So 204 is the um, status code for that. Now, why don't we go to Thunder client? Current user we have done, URL list, okay. New request, logout. Like this. Post request, I'll do something like this, logout, and header will be obviously application JSON. So with this, obviously it will say unauthenticated because right now we are not getting the giving the token. And if I go over here, auth bearer this send, nothing is coming over here. But then after that, if I do current user, it gives me unauthenticated error because that token doesn't exist, right? We can even try to look at that. So let me open up Tinker again and do, what was the name of that table? Let me quickly look at the migrations. I'll come to know. URL token personal access token, right? Personal access token, yes. So db table get, this is empty. Now if I try to log in, what just happened? The credentials are wrong, obviously. Now this is correct. I get a new token, and with this token, if I, let me replace that, copy this, current token is replaced. I get the user object, and obviously now if I run this, can you see this token is available over here? It says that the token ID, tokenable ID, which is the user ID, is one, name is web. This is the token, right? And obviously, there are a lot of things which can be done, but for example, expires at is not set and stuff like that. But as you can see, the tokens value, this particular two slash, or rather two and then pipe, this thing is never stored in the database. This is sent as the bearer token, and this is always matched like a hash check kind of a thing, um, for validating the token. So that's about it. And again, as I said, if I log out, the current token gets deleted. Oops, that's weird. Or didn't, oh okay, yeah, my bad. I'll have to pass the correct authentication token. It's done. Status 204. And now if I run that query, the table is empty. So yes, I guess that's what I wanted to cover in today's video, which is authentication using Sanctum. I really enjoy this package because now this is in core, so you really don't need to figure out too much. Just implement the basic stuff. As you can see, most of the things are in place. You can, to the max, add some configuration stuff inside your Sanctum thing. For example, the regular stuff. I mean, this is for stateful authentication, which means if you are running the API on the same domain, but I'm not planning to do that. So you can set the expirations and stuff like that, and it can help you very quickly put up an authentication system for your APIs, and your front end can easily implement it, right? So about the front end implementation, I am definitely going to create a video of that inside my Next.js application and put it up as a normal video. It won't be a live. But yeah, that's about it, guys. If you have any questions, let me see if there are any. um, Okay, user inactivity implementation. Yes, that's correct, Debjit. Typically, user inactivation is the way to go about it. Even if you see, like the Facebook tokens and stuff like that, right? They all have expiry. So there are short-lived tokens, there are long-lived tokens. With short-lived token, the idea is that you get a access token and a refresh token. You use both of them to get either a new token and then continue your API calls, or you create a long lived token, something like how even GitHub uses. You get a personal access token, right? And you can continue using that with an expiry you want to set, or you can revoke that token at any point of time. So the idea will be that the user will be able to see all the places where he or she is logged in, with the ability to revoke an individual token or all of them. And yeah, that will ideally be the case. Okay, so I guess there are no more questions, so it's time to say goodbye. Thank you everyone for joining the live session. It really helps to see a lot of users commenting and asking questions. It's something which I enjoy. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, if you have any queries around this series or any topic in general, feel free to get in touch and I will try to create a video out of it.